Broadcasting from the Merritt Hall Studios out of
Welcome
Carson
to
City,
Covering
Nevada.
the Field. I'm Joe
You're
Ellison,
listening
and
to
with me
Covering
today
the
is
Field
my amazing colleague,
with Big Richard Martin, Gator
Rich.
Gates, and
National
Joe
Basketball
Ellison.
Association playoffs have begun. What happened last night, Tuesday, in the play-in games?
Well, the play-in games have started, and the college kids are back in class, and now the NBA takes center stage. And the play-in games went. Miami got thumped by Atlanta, and they have officially got their playoff spot locked in against Boston. And the Lakers come back in historic fashion in an overtime win against Minnesota without Gilbert in there. Your fellow Frenchman, Rudy Gobert was not playing due to punching his own teammate. So he didn't get to play, but they get another chance because the 8 and 9 teams are playing tonight, or the 9 and 10 teams were playing tonight, and the winner of that will play the Miami Heat, and then in the West, there will be the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, what a crazy game that Laker game was against Minnesota. It was 95 all, and LeBron going for that loose ball, and with 30 seconds left, and he gets his hands on the ball. He's putting forth the effort, diving all over the floor, and he gets a foul. I thought that was a really terrible call.
Well, we are always in LA unhappy when we get calls against LeBron James, of course. He was quite vocal earlier in the year when he got against Celtics, no call again. But I think the foul that we should be talking about is when Anthony Davis fouled the 3-point shooter with 0.1 seconds or something left, under like a minute, 1 second left. He gets the shot off, and he steps on his foot on the way down, gets 3 free throws, goes to the overtime, which if you had the Lakers -8, you were glad for that. And Still didn't quite cover. They covered they won by 6. So my ticket went in the trash, but I didn't have the Lakers, and was very excited for overtime, but not very excited about the outcome.
That 3-pointer by Dennis Schroeder, the German.
Yes,
1.4 seconds left. Thought that would have ended the game, but no. Anthony Davis fell to with 0.1 seconds left. Unbelievable.
Yep.
So they were kind of lucky to win that, the Lakers. And
Minnesota plays very well. They had Towns back, and he's playing at full strength now. And I think when they get Rudy Gobert, I think they're going to win and get that 8 seed. And I think they'll give Denver all they can ask for.
They didn't have Gobert and Jaden McDaniels, who decided to punch a wall. And those were two good defensive players who were out of that game. Otherwise, they could have very easily have won that game.
They could have, and then the Lakers would be playing for their playoff shot. But I tell you right now, I think Denver's glad to have Minnesota, not the Lakers, in that first series.
I don't think Gobert actually should have been, taken out for one game. I mean, Draymond Green punched his teammate that one time for the Warriors, and there was no punishment then.
No punishment.
The commissioner,
he hit Silver, knocked him out.
Ain't going to do anything. He gave him a hug and a ring. In fact, David Stern would have never stood for that, but the NBA doesn't have a commissioner, apparently.
Well, we'll tell you that he doesn't have much of a spine. We'll say that. But anyway, we're moving on. Let's watch the basketball. We got the series is coming up here next week, starting on Saturday.
You want to
break them down?
You want to start in the East?
Let's start with the Beast of the East. We'll talk about Milwaukee.
They're going to play Miami or the Toronto-Chicago winner.
Yes. So Chicago, the only team in the East with a losing record. So I'm pretty sure they'll get ousted tonight. And then, it'll be the Raptors or Miami. So I think no one's going to beat Milwaukee. They're full strength in this opening round. I'm taking a 4-0 Milwaukee will win the 4.
Okay. Oh, I didn't put how many games I was going to pick them in. But,
okay.
That's good, though. You like the sweep. I like that.
I like the sweep. Milwaukee, I think they're really, really strong until they get to the finals against Boston.
Okay, so Boston playing Atlanta. You just said you like Boston.
I do like Boston. Number 4 scoring team in the league. The number 3 top scoring team is Atlanta. So we're going to have some high points. Boston averages 118 points a game. And Atlanta averages 118 and Boston averages 117.9, but Boston has a really big deep bench. I think they were really good managing Robert Williams III, his minutes and game workload. And I think Atlanta will get one with that high scoring team, but I'm liking Boston at 5.
Okay. Philadelphia against Brooklyn.
Well, who's left for Brooklyn? I guess they got Mikal Bridges. Bridge, he averages 20 points a game. But you got Joel Embiid. We got some injuries with Maxey. He has a neck injury, and James Harden has a Achilles always hurting. And so minor injuries, they're game to game. They'll play. And I think they just roll over. I think that'll be a sweep for Philadelphia.
Yeah, I can see that too. Philly, pretty strong team statistically anyway, right? Embiid is a back-to-back scoring champ now this year. Harden led the league in assists very quietly.
Right.
Nobody really noticed that. They led the league in free throw percentage. In fact, the second best percentage in history, 83.5%. And they led in 3-point percentage shooting also. So I think Philly should dominate that series.
They should, and I'm looking forward to the Boston-Philadelphia series after that. I think that'll be a great series.
Okay, Cleveland against New York. The Knicks are back.
The Knicks are back. They played great towards the second half of the season. Julius Randle does have a bad ankle, and he's been in a walking boot trying to get healthy, but he looks like he's about 75%. Cleveland has the number one rated defense, points allowed. Only allowing 106 points a game. So I think the defense, and if Julius Randle is 100%, there's probably not much of a chance. Donovan Mitchell should have his way, and I think Cleveland will win it, but I think the Knicks make it close. I'm going to say Cleveland in 7.
Yeah, I have to pick an upset somewhere along the line, and I'm certainly not going to pick any of the first 3. So I'm going to take New York just because of the law of averages that one of them is going to go down. It's got to go down. Exactly. All right, so we're going to move on down to the West here. Okay. It's going to be Denver, the number 1 seed. They've never been a number 1 seed before.
Right.
This is pretty strange. But Denver against Minnesota, or the New Orleans, Oklahoma City winner of the play-in game.
Right. And I think Minnesota, like you were talking about, they're sneaky good. And I think if we talk about an upset, I think you probably might be able to see it right there. The number 1 seed could go down. Minnesota, played decent all year. They battled those injuries, and they seem to be at full strength. Besides punching a teammate or a wall, I think maybe they can play some basketball instead of MAA and maybe get it done. I don't know. Denver, Mile High City. I say it could be an upset, but I like Denver. I like Denver at 7.
Okay, Denver in 7. Yeah, I've got to take Denver too. I mean, Minnesota, obviously not the smartest team there is out there. When the pressure comes on, then something bad's bound to happen. I'll give Denver credit. They're the number 1 shooting percentage team in the league. They average over 50% shooting.
Yeah, Djokovic is a great passer, shooter, rebounder.
Nikola Jokic, yes. This West appears to be pretty wide open. So maybe there will be an upset even at the number 1 seed, like you said. Okay, here's an interesting one. Memphis against the Lakers. LA Lakers.
Well, the Lakers they're playing really good basketball. I mean, since they made the trades, great. It was a great during the trade deadline. They got rid of the baggage Russell Westbrook. And, they improved their defense, improved their, Schroeder's. Russell Williams is the leading scorer for the Lakers right now, the highest point, if he did his whole season's stats, with averaging 17 some points a game. So I think the Lakers are going to get it done. I'm thinking that's my upset. I'm thinking the Lakers will beat Memphis and John Morant, even though, he should enjoy his time in LA. I'm sure he'll be going to some of the clubs. Hopefully his counseling has helped and he can control himself. And but I think the Lakers, this will be a good series. The way I like Memphis, even with John Morant, their leading scorer, 27 points a game. Even with him out, they had a 9-1 run without him, so they could win without John Morant. Shows how deep they are. But I think the Lakers. You get LeBron playing playoff basketball with Anthony Davis, and now you got Williams in there. Schroeder, like you said, just hit a nice 3-pointer. I think this would be a good series, but I'm taking the Lakers in 6.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of surprised, but I'm going to also pick the Lakers in 6. Of course, I am a Lakers fan. But, the best record in the West since the All-Star break, that's the Lakers, 16-7, 18-8 without Russell Westbrook. That was the right move for sure. So I'm definitely going with the Lakers.
Well, let's move on to the other one. What about the Warriors and Kings?
Sacramento,
the Pacific champions. For first time since what we said 1992, you could have got them at 250 to 1 odds. But now they're playing the Golden State Warriors. And, the thing that really I look at, the Warriors are 11-30 on the road. That's a very, very, very poor.
Historically, that could be one of the worst of any playoff team.
Right. So they're having a hard time. But, I think they know they're playoff basketball. They know how to play it. They just hung 156, when they were ready almost to lose that number 4 seed. They could have dropped out, had to do the play-in games, and they just dropped 156 points. I think they're going to go. The number 1 scoring team in basketball is the Kings, and the number 2 is Golden State. So we got the 1 and 2 teams there. So let's look for some points, ladder it up, let's have some fun. And but I'm going to say the Warriors win in 6.
Well, I guess we're going to have to bet the over, or lean towards the over.
Lean towards the overs.
Yeah, Golden
especially
State,
on the road.
Set an NBA record for threes this year. So, I don't know how many there were, but it was a whole lot of them. But yes, so you got the highest league, highest scoring team in the league against a team that's going to shoot threes all day long.
Right.
So
in Golden State, when they playoff times, it's time to, the Splash Brothers come out, and Draymond Green should be on full force, getting underneath their skin like he always does. And I like the Warriors. I think it's tough to go against the Warriors.
It's really tough to go against the Warriors, but I'm going to pick Sacramento in 7 just for the heck of it. I'm upsetting my producer here. I'm upsetting my colleague here, but I do have ties to Sacramento. It's a sentimental pick. Did go to Sacramento State, so I've seen a few games, and I'm going to count on the Warriors continue to play poorly on the road. And we got Phoenix against the Los Angeles Clippers in our last series.
Well, this should be by one of the best ones. You got to look at DeAndre Ayton. He is scoring 18 points a game with 10 rebounds. So that is amazing. But he's going against Ivic Sobiek, who averages 10 points for the Clippers and 10 rebounds. Kevin Durant, one of the best pure shooters, especially for a big man, 7-footer. Chris Paul. Paul George is out for at least the first week of it, so he's going to miss the first few games. So that being said, with Russell Westbrook on the Clippers now, I'm going to take the Suns in 7.
That's a good one. I like that. I like Phoenix in 7 too. With Durant, they haven't lost a game yet, although it's only been 8 games.
Right.
No.
Well, we're just waiting for his next injury, so we'll see what happens with that.
In his last 30 games, I thought I was seeing things. 28-2, the last 30 games he's played in.
And the reason that the Brooklyn Nets are in the playoffs is because of Durant,
exactly
getting those wins.
So, I got to go with Phoenix in that. So the one team that should have been in there and wasn't is Dallas. What the heck happened to them?
Well, they decided to play for 2024. It looks like the sitting starters at the end when they had a chance to make the playoffs. Very questionable call. Not really understanding. It's not about game time management. You have to make the playoffs, and you have to have all hands on deck. They obviously didn't. And sounds like a upper office, maybe owner decision to sit everybody, and it's sad for the people in Dallas.
Yeah, that's a Mark Cuban decision. They have the 10th worst record. If they end up with the 11th or worse, the New York Knicks get their first round draft pick. So they're trying to, or we're trying to, and they're on their road to keeping their 10th pick. Now, it's not a guarantee. That's an 80% chance to keep that pick. There's a 20% chance they lose it. But somebody has to move up in the lottery and jump them and get a little closer. And I guess that's possible.
I guess it's possible. You think, when the playoffs start, that they would already have, the non-playoff teams would already be in the draft board. Well,
we're still working out the play-in games and all this other stuff. I guess the teams that didn't make the playoffs are all going to be, there's going to be 16 teams in the playoffs and 14 teams in the lottery.
Right.
So one of
So if you don't win if you don't win your play-in game, you still got a chance for a lottery pick.
yes, you do.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the good news is you get a lottery pick. You know, if you win, you get to go play Milwaukee. I don't know if that's much of a, an incentive.
Right.
But I think, like you said, the West is wide open, and you made that move to get Kyrie Irving, to make a playoff push, and they definitely did not play well with him.
Having Kyrie Irving on your team is basically a recipe for disaster. From what I see, every team he goes to ends up playing terrible.
Besides the year with LeBron and when they beat the Golden State.
Oh, yes, Cleveland.
Yes.
That's a while back.
That was a while back, but,
Yes.
definitely one of the best ball handlers. And,
Dallas 5-11 with Irving and Doncic playing together. Who would have thought that would happen?
Yeah, that would have been I think everybody jumped. Like you said, the odds went all the way from 25 to 16-1 to win the NBA championship with the move they made, and then they ended up not even making the playoffs. So
There you have it.
throw that ticket in the trash.
That's right. So we will be in the NBA Finals. Who's going to win it all?
I'm going to say it's going to be. Man, I don't know in the West. It's so wide open.
I know that's the tough part.
That's the tough part. I'm going to say I'm going to go with Denver. Let's give them a chance. We'll go with Denver, and we're going to go with Boston and Denver. And I think, like you said, when Boston put that 40-some point smackdown in Milwaukee, their second worst loss in franchise history at home, I think they'd established that they can win on the road, and they're the superior team.
Well, I'm going to ignore that one particular game. I'm going to take Milwaukee. I'm going to put my Lakers in there to make the finals for the heck of it. It
would be a Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Milwaukee, LA Lakers. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe they can have Kareem go out there and throw the opening tip,
ceremonial
tip. Exactly.
Well, that'd be interesting. But the West is so wide open. I mean, Denver, LA, these picks are crazy. Our producer says Golden State. A lot of people are picking Golden State. Even more people are picking Phoenix, which is
all right. Well, we saw that a record.
There you go.
So with with Kevin Durant's record, I mean, when he's on, he's good. But can he stay healthy? That's the big question.
Odds not incredible. Milwaukee's plus 275. Boston plus 325, Phoenix plus 450, Golden State plus 750. The Lakers are 14.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. A long way to go now. What, about 3 months?
Yeah,
the first round, it takes 3 weeks.
Yeah, they're playing 7 in the first round, so it's gonna be a couple, week and a half every series.
It's like the hockey playoffs are going to start after the NBA playoffs, but the hockey playoffs are going to finish before the NBA playoffs end, it seems like. So, and speaking of the National Hockey League playoffs, they begin Monday. Playoff brackets, they're going to be set by Friday at the latest. Problem right now is we don't know who exactly is playing who yet.
Exactly. Everything's jammed up, especially in the West. Las Vegas has 109 points. Edmonton is on a 9-0-1 run right now, and they're at 107, so they're right on their tail with 2 games to go. What about the Seattle Kraken?
What about the Kraken?
Hey, the Kraken got a Kraken this year. They got 100 points, and they're on their way to their first playoffs. That's congratulations.
They definitely built their team the right way.
Right. And then, the defending champion, Avalanche, had some bad news. Landeskog may be done for the season.
Oh, wow.
So he's going to have another couple checks this week. They said at the most he can be 70%. For his overall health, they think he should be staying out. But, I thought hockey players were tough.
This must be a serious injury.
So
they did win it all last year, so there is that to fall back on a little bit.
And Cale Makar has a lower leg injury, and he will be out to the playoffs. So that's reason they probably had a tough time last night against Edmonton. They got an overtime loss.
Right, and they only scored one goal. And then Josh Manson's coming back. He'll be back this week too. So they're going to get healthy in some positions, and they are the defending champs. But we have to talk about the Bruins, can't we? Ken, we have to talk about your Bruins there. The record-setting Bruins.
Yes. So I'm going to give you a sink or swim, Joe. They have 64 wins this year already, so that beat the 95-96 Red Wings, had 62 wins, along with the 2018 and 2019 Tampa Bay Lightning had 62 wins. Sink or swim. None of those teams won the Stanley Cup.
I'm going to guess that the Red Wings did. How did I do?
Well, you were right on Tampa Bay. They didn't, and the Red Wings were beat by the Avalanche, 95-96. So neither one of those teams have done very well. But what about the Bruins? Have 133 points. They also have a record of 133 points. And they're pretty much out in front. You have Toronto Maple Leafs at 107, and Carolina Hurricanes have 111. So there's respectable. I mean, the 111 would be the best in the West. So, I mean, Carolina and Toronto, very capable of knocking off the big boy Bruins. But right now they look pretty invincible.
They look like they deserve to win the Stanley Cup is what they look like. Right. But they just beat the other day the 132 points. They have 133 now, or maybe even more. They just beat the 76-77 Montreal Canadiens, and that team actually did win the Stanley Cup. So there's some good
omens and bad omens on these guys. Yeah. But I mean, you throw that out the door, all those things in the past. This is a new team, a totally different team, and they look like very dominating right now.
A brand new coach too.
Okay, so they got stuff going in Boston. They got the Celtics and the Bruins playing good.
Yeah, the Patriots had their run.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see.
Red Sox, that's been a few years back now.
So everybody in the Boston Garden should be happy. A lot of stuff to watch, and you got the favorites in probably in both divisions.
Right. Well, there is one series in the East we know. Toronto is playing Tampa Bay. Do you have a pick on that?
Well, I'm going to go with the Maple Leafs. I mean, I think that they, like I told you, had 107 wins.
Right.
Tampa Bay seems to be trending the other way, 107 points, trending the other way. And I'm thinking Toronto. It's always good for hockey when Toronto and Edmonton are playing well. So,
yeah, Tampa Bay seems to be falling apart here a little bit. And that's going to end their 3 straight years in the finals, the 2 championships, then losing in the finals in just a matter of time. They couldn't keep all their players, and now they're weaker, and it's showing.
It's showing.
And Toronto has this history of blowing it in the playoffs. They are so due to make a good run. Make a good run, exactly. Or at least win a series would be something.
Well, we have to shout out to our NHL hockey expert, Gator Gates. Get well, buddy. I know you're dealing with some eye issues, and so we wish you a happy and healthy recovery and get you back. How did the Gator line do this week?
Well, let's see. Gator. Yes, he's not with us, but we can report that his picks last week went 9-1. That was terrific. That finishes his regular season at 171-79, which is 68.4% this year. Great job, Gator.
Great job, Gator. You did well. I think the only one's doing better than you is Boston. That's about right. But no, he did great job. Right, he got right 69%. He was always shooting for 70, and I think he was right at 68, 69, right, for the year.
A couple of rough patches around the trade deadline and the All-Star break, and that's always a tough time to bet. Other than that, he was on fire.
Absolutely.
So who do you have winning the Stanley Cup?
I'm going to see Boston and Avalanche. I'm going to see, of course, I have to go with my Avalanche, but it's tough to go against Boston, and especially with Landeskog out. Let's go Edmonton to beat Boston in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Wow. Well, I can. What a disappointment! But guess what? Guess what Gator likes?
What does Gator like?
He likes Edmonton to beat Boston. Just like you. And I have Boston to beat Edmonton. So we're pretty consistent on that.
Consistent. And we love to have 7-game hockey all the time. We're looking forward. This is the best time in hockey for sure. When these playoffs start, the beards start growing. And, we start seeing these great rivalries, come out. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Stanley Cup playoffs is the best.
It's the best.
It's better than the NFL, better than baseball, better than the NBA.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. But okay, we'll give you that. But it's definitely, I like them all. I just love the season right now. We got the
definitely the greatest trophy in North American team sports. You get your name etched on it.
Yeah, and you get to take it home for a day.
You get to
do whatever, and God knows what they do with it.
We don't want to know.
We don't want to know.
But anyway, so also we should mention in colleges, the Frozen Four, Gator suggested taking the underdogs, and sure enough, Quinnipiac won the championship, and in thrilling fashion, the school with 10 letters scored 10 seconds into overtime to win the title.
Okay.
Hopefully, you didn't spend too much time in the bathroom between periods because you would miss the end of the game.
The end of the game for sure.
There in overtime, you go, what happened? Well, it didn't take.
Well, where is that? I mean, I don't even know where Quinnipiac is. So I tell you the truth.
Oops, I'm sorry I didn't look it up, but it's got to be in the.
We'll get our producer.
Northeast, I can promise you that.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's great.
I'm going to guess New York, but our producer is going to be all over that. So.
So good.
That was a great Final Four. That Frozen Four was very exciting. So, Big Rich, you want to get into some baseball?
Well, yeah, I
Major
mean,
League
it's April and we've
now in
had
full
2
swing.
weeks, week and a half into the season, and we have to start off with the Tampa Bay Rays. 11 and
Looks
0.
like it's in Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac is in Connecticut.
So
How about
Connecticut.
that? Good for Connecticut.
All right, they got UConn and they stole the NCAA.
They certainly did.
So they got the Frozen Four and the Final Four.
There you go.
But we're going to talk about Tampa Bay Rays starting off at a red hot 11 and 0. Runs scored 83, runs against 20 in the first 11 games. That's amazing. And that's due to one of their pitchers, Drew Rossman, 2-0. His ERA is triple bagels, and his whip, which is walks, hits, in any pitch, 0.23. So that gives you're only getting a runner on every 3 innings, not getting scoring position, but just getting on, obviously. And so we'll go into some red hot stuff. I'm going to tell you, Joe, we've had 2 13-0 starts in the Major League history. It was Atlanta, 1982.
Yep.
And Milwaukee in 1987, 13-0.
Mm-hmm.
So sink or swim, both those teams made the playoffs.
Oh, God. I would have to say, yes, they made the playoffs. I'll say swim.
Well, we're sinking, Joe.
Oh,
we're
man.
sinking, Joe, on both of them didn't make the playoffs that year. So it's just unbelievable. Starting off at 13. They both had winning records, but unfortunately they didn't make the playoffs. But let's talk about the
There were less teams in the playoffs back then.
There was, and exactly. That was when you only had to win your division to get in. I don't know if the wild card was even
There was
going.
one wild card, I believe, at that time, only
Right.
4 per league.
So
in.
they definitely would have got in today's baseball. So
Right.
good point there, Joe. 1966, the Orioles, 12-1 start. And they actually won the World Series, beating LA Dodgers in a 4-0 sweep. So
That's close.
That's close. Well, let's talk about another red hot team. The Tigers in 1984, they went 35-5 on their first 40, and they ended up winning over San Diego that year in 1984. So starting out good is usually 11-0. I mean, you season ticket holders in Tampa Bay, you probably watch a little October baseball.
If you want to go back just a little bit further, there's the 1884 St. Louis Maroons, who started the season 20-0. This was before the mound was even moved at that point. It was a different kind of game. And so
before the turn of the century, the St. Louis Maroons, 20-0.
20-0.
9 more to go, Tampa Bay. We got to erase this from history, I'm sure. So
how about a sink or swim?
Okay.
Is that the longest opening streak in any sport to start a season?
20-0. Well, it can be. I'm going to say, what about the Miami Dolphins? I mean, they were probably with you do their playoffs and Super Bowl.
17-0, but unfortunately, they only played 17 games. So
but they won the playoff. They win the 2 playoff games. So that would give them 20.
Oh no, that was 14.
14 and 3. Okay, yeah, they didn't get a chance to play 20.
No, they didn't. So that didn't quite add up, but we have to give them a lot of credit.
Right. So I'm saying, is there anything better, Joe?
Our producer might remember 2015 and 16. The Golden State Warriors, believe it or not, started the season 24-0.
Wow.
It's not very memorable.
That's when they were winning on the road.
I think that was the
they had a few road games in there, I'm sure.
The 73. Yes, they were winning 73-9. I think they had to run a few on the road. 73-9. I think that was the year they lost to LeBron. But yeah. That was an amazing year until the very end.
Until the very end. LeBron spoiled the parade.
But the best part of Tampa's streak, they don't even spend any money on their team like other teams, and they're
right. And they have I think one of their pitchers are out too right now. One of their star pitchers we reported earlier that Rockin Ronnie did. And we have to talk about O'Neill Cruz. Devastating fracture, having off to a great start, rookie shortstop. I mean, he played last year. I don't know if he had enough to qualify him as a he'd be a rookie this year, but he's the one that throws over 90 some miles an hour on his throw to first base. The hardest thrower in the infield arms. He can actually probably pitch if you needed him to. But he fractured his ankle and he's out till August. Wow. So tough for the Pittsburgh Pirates. But they are starting off at 7-4, probably the best time since Willie Stargell. And maybe Barry Bonds at Candelaria. That's when they start off 7-4. But good news
Bobby
for people.
Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla, the Killer Bees.
Oh, yeah.
But what does Rockin' Ronnie have for us?
Well, he's got a lot of stuff as far as the injury front. Boston's Adam Duvall is out a couple months also, and he had been starting out on fire. We're going to have some historic notes that we've already started this year. St. Louis outfielder Jordan Walker. He has 11-game hitting streak to start his career. He's one game away from tying Eddie Murphy, no, not the comedian, in 1912 for the longest hitting streak to begin a career by a player aged 20 or younger since 1900. Walker, he didn't even play in AAA. He just jumped straight from AA, and he's going to be an amazing player. Texas pitcher Andrew Heaney tied an American League record, 9 consecutive strikeouts. The overall record is 10. Corbin Burns, Aaron Nola, and Tom Seaver.
Okay.
That was
pretty good company there.
Out 9 in a row.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Well, we got to talk about Shohei Ohtani, right? The other day, just pitched 7 innings, 1 hit ball. He's allowed 2 or fewer runs, 10 consecutive starts. That's an Angel record, passing Nolan Ryan. His ERA right now, 0.47. He's batting 300. Incredible.
I know he does it on both sides. And he also got a warning for taking too much time as a pitcher and taking too much time as a hitter. So the first time since our new stopwatch era, he got both in the same game. He got a penalty for on both sides, pitching and hitting.
Well, he was on Japanese time at the time.
Okay, it must have been because
in his head, it was
plenty of time.
Okay. Chicago White Sox. Elvis Andrus got his 2000th hit. He's the 290th player to do so. Of active players, only Joey Votto and Nelson Cruz, besides, of course, Miguel Cabrera, who has over 3,000.
Right.
Only those 2 other guys have 2,000 or more.
More hits. I'll give you a sink or swim on
so
that.
Anyway, enjoy the game. And
297 was his best batting average for those 2.
Got some squares. Oh gosh, you're getting me on them today. I'm gonna say stink on that one.
You got to run it. He batted 301 time, 302. He's batted 302 once. His 7 hits this year. He's batted with those 2,000 hits. He's batted now whopping 158 for the Chicago White Sox. But
I guarantee you, he did not hit that 300 when he played for the Oakland A's.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's playing for somebody else. And a
lot of time
he didn't play well for the A's.
Played very well for when he was with the Rangers.
Right. St. Louis, Nolan Arenado just hit his 300th home run. He's the 8th player ever to collect 300 home runs and 8 Gold Gloves.
Okay.
There's something.
Both sides of the field.
Yes. Luis Rice, Miami. He hit for the cycle. That's the first time any Marlin has ever hit for the cycle. That's been, 30 years now we've had the Marlins. Yes. 4,700 games. He's batting like 537. Minnesota just traded him. He was a batting champ last year. And they traded him to the Marlins. That's not looking like a good move at the moment.
Yeah, Minnesota's still 7-4 right now, so
they got a good
great for you.
And
they got a great Pablo Lopez, who's got 26 strikeouts. So
right,
good for both people.
How about some minor league news? AA Rocket City Trash Pandas, the 10th minor league team to lose a game while throwing a no-hitter, playing against the Chattanooga Lookouts. They lost 7-5. In the 7th inning, they gave up 5 walks, hit 4 batters with pitches, threw a wild pitch, and committed an error.
No hits to give up 5 runs, 7 runs.
7 runs.
That's an amazing stat.
That's got to be a record.
That was definitely you got hosed.
Yeah. The team in the major leagues has lost a game 6 times while throwing a no-hitter.
So. I'm sure it wasn't 7 runs.
No. So I saw a game 4-0 once. Okay. Yeah, but not 7. We did mention that a lady named Ronnie Gajonik in a past show. She became the first manager in high A minor league baseball. Just
okay. Way to go, coach. Way to go, skipper.
Yeah, good for her. And in college, finally, Brady Ware, University of Indianapolis. It's a Division II team. He threw a no-hitter and hit for the cycle in the same game.
Wow, on fire.
Completely on fire.
He's with the Angels.
I think he's going to get in the transfer portal.
I think he's definitely going to be playing for somebody else next year. Yeah, Division I.
So thank you, Rockin' Ronnie McKinnon, for those statistics.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff. So NASCAR last week, they raced on Easter Sunday, which they never used to do. That never happened. Christopher Bell won on the dirt at Bristol. Odds were only 11-2 that I saw. Next week, the boys go to Martinsville. Any pick there, Big Rich?
Well, I mean, Martinsville is sink or swim is the shortest track in NASCAR.
Well, I thought Bristol was.
No, it's
Well, the
1.5 miles is Bristol's second smallest. Martinsville's the smallest. So there would be a lot of wrecks, a lot of congestion.
The one in LA and the Coliseum.
Coliseum was not official with NASCAR.
official.
NASCAR, yeah, that would be the same thing. But Chris Bell won it last year in Martinsville. So I'm going to say he's going to stay hot and win it 2 weeks in a row.
Okay. Well, Gator, he says it'll be a crapshoot. He says whoever has the best brakes will win.
Okay.
I noticed on the odds, 5 drivers are at plus 650. I've never seen that before.
Right.
So that's
Truex won in LA. So I mean, you got to look for the Toyotas. He raced well.
okay. Well, Rich, was there any National Football League news to speak of this week?
Joe, of course, there's always national football news. There's somebody in the news all the time, but
good or bad?
Well, I'm thinking that it was definitely the NFL. The Jets finally got the Green Bay quarterback. But it wasn't Aaron Rodgers, though. It was Tim Boyle, his backup. So, I mean, everything looks good for Green Bay to get, except for the King's Goblet. They got to get the King. I mean, they've got the offensive coordinator. They've got Lazard.
Right. And
now they got his backup. So the table is set for Aaron Rodgers to go to the Jets.
Offensive coordinator.
As I said, for him, he was their quarterback's coach.
Right.
Daniel Hackett. So Saquon Barkley says no thank you for the franchise tag. They Giants tagged him. He would be getting a little bit over $10 million for this year. He says no thank you. So I don't know if he'll hold out, but I think he's well worth having a contract. He's battled some injuries, and last year he ran for close to 1,400 yards, and he had 10 touchdowns, and averaging over 4 yards a carry. I'm thinking that's somebody that deserves at least a 2-year contract. I mean, now it just seems like the running backs are you're paying the left tackles, triple the amount you're paying your running backs.
Yeah, that's the fear, is the injury. He didn't have an injury last year, so he's probably due to have one this year.
Right. Well, I mean, he just says he doesn't want to go. I'm sure some other teams would like his services somewhere else, maybe offer him a 2 or 3 year contract, and I think he deserves it.
Well, his old teammate got a contract.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham.
And he's over there with Lamar Jackson now. If Lamar finally gets a contract.
If Lamar decides to play, show up.
Well, I just think the writing's on the wall for him to be gone. As he didn't, like you said, he didn't even go to the game last year, the playoff game. He wasn't on the sidelines, definitely felt like he's outcasted by that Baltimore franchise. And so,
well, Lamar was instrumental in Beckham getting to that team, getting to Baltimore and signing that contract. It would seem kind of
odd for him to go somewhere else.
Yeah. It seems like he's coming back, you'd think.
Well,
but of course, Beckham did have those 2 ACL tears. So maybe he's, not going to last a whole season either. And maybe Lamar just said, hey, might as well take the 15 mil and just in case you get hurt, if he looks good.
Right.
And then
a lot of things can happen.
Another team next year.
What is it? When is the draft? The 27th?
Well, it's the last Thursday.
Last Thursday of April.
Right.
And so a lot of things could happen between now and then. A lot of players, like you saw, Elijah Moore got moved again. So things could happen. I couldn't believe that Detroit let their first round pick, Okadawa or whatever, from the cornerback, Ogoduka.
Yeah.
And he went to Atlanta for a 5th round pick, he was on last year's contract anyway. Detroit's already been rebuilding. And they're also, they've got Gardner in the free agencies. They're very aggressive at the DBs. That's where they were hurting so bad last year. And I think that they saw the writing on the wall, and they saw he wasn't going to be around anyway. So move on. They still have two top 15 picks this year. Detroit does. They had the Rams pick. So,
Detroit's new coach didn't like him, I guess. So it's time to move on.
Time to move on from him. And Jamal Williams moved on. He went to, I think Did he go to Tampa Bay or he went to?
I forgot where he went, but yeah, it's
Jamal
not
went to-
football season yet.
It's not football season yet, but I'm telling you that that's a big loss. But they got Swift, so
Sure.
they have Swift, and I think they picked.
And they're in the sweepstakes probably to get Bijan Robinson from Texas.
They can get him there, and they also signed Montgomery from the Bears. So I mean, they're
not hurting.
They're not hurting. They're making logical decisions. Seems like all the decisions they've made have turned to goal lately. So,
and
Jamal Williams.
He is on the Saints.
To the Saints.
Okay, beautiful. So it's kind of interesting. Moving on, the XFL trudges along to week 9, but now the USFL is beginning this weekend.
So much amateur football. So much amateur football. I'm just going to step out and see who's even on, because half these guys who were on the USFL are now playing in the XFL. So we have multiple amateur football. So I'm going to wait and see what happens. I really enjoyed the USFL last year. I like the way they do it. They wait till football's gone, give the NCAA basketball their time, and then they come in for some good summer football.
Oh, you insulted the poor guys by calling it amateur football.
It is. Well, since only one of them made it to the NFL last year, it was the guy for the Cowboys, the kick return, the MVP for the USFL last year. But I think it's good for them. I know it's professional, but these are practice squad quarterbacks and practice squad players for most of the NFL.
You can see AJ McCarron being a third string quarterback in the NFL again.
Yes, exactly. Sure. That's what I'm saying. I mean, right now you wouldn't even make the, probably not even close to practice squads, but he's getting to play now and he's liking it. So nothing saying bad against it. I think it's just, if you can find an edge, I just think it's too much. One league's enough. That's what I would say. But
the timing's very odd.
Right.
So. Big Rich, I guess we should review what happened at my favorite tournament in golf's first major. It was the 87th Masters from Augusta National Golf Club in Georgia. Were you watching it?
Yeah, I mean, I liked Rom from the beginning. You could have got him at 2-1 odds.
Well, 9-1 actually, 2-1 Saturday.
2-1 Saturday.
8-1 actually when he started.
Yeah. He's definitely, he's the new Tiger. He's definitely, he seems like he's got his game down.
The Spanish Basco.
Exactly. So, your boy Jordan Spieth, he was in the top 10. He did well and
tied for fourth.
And then you had was it Kubek?
Brooks
Koepka, yeah. He was winning, and then the weather came in, so he was just, I think, really got jammed. He had a +3 in his final round, and it's tough to play in that kind of weather. They were in there. Definitely, you saw the numbers going down.
Well, you could see Tiger found the weather to be pretty rough. He didn't even show up Sunday, and I guess he blamed plantar fasciitis, but he was.
It's a major injuries. I think somebody said
he was limping around quite a bit.
They said one of the bolts even was penetrating, bulging from the skin. So he's got some bad injuries. Tough to recover. Just good to see him get it out and get out there and hit the ball. We all like to see Tiger, and I think the ratings definitely go up when Tiger's playing well.
Still, it's a great week. Watching the Masters. There's that Wednesday par 3 contest. All the kids are running around. Yeah. That's fun. Thursday has that.
Wasn't it 3 hole-in-ones or something like that on the par 3?
There always are.
Yeah, exactly. So
that Thursday ceremonial tee shot, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Tom Watson. That's always good. Gary Player hit a hole-in-one when he was 80 on that par 3 contest. He's 86 now, and he's still playing. He's still competing.
Still competing out there. That's awesome.
Yeah. So good old Rom. He double bogeyed his first hole. And still won by 4 strokes. Sunday was amazing. $2.7 million. Can't beat that. And he won on Seve Ballesteros' birthday, just like Sergio Garcia did. And that's his hero. The Spaniards stick together pretty strong.
Yes.
So he's the first European to win the Masters and U.S. Open.
Okay.
And he's on fire. 9 tournaments this year. He's won 4 of them.
All right.
He's played in.
Good. So, put your money on Rom.
Yep. Poor Brooks. Mickelson shot a 65, tied for second. Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
He did well. Mickelson, Spieth both had 21 birdies, but way too many mistakes on the other holes. Fred Couples, 63 years and a half, oldest to make the cut.
Wow.
Ever. So another good story. And Sam Bennett was that amateur, was at 8 under after 2 rounds. He's the first amateur to make the top 20 since 2005. So Good for him.
Good things are coming up for him.
Yes.
Get his card next
It wasn't all bad for Tiger. He tied Couples and Player for making 23 consecutive cuts. So good for him. And Scotty Scheffler, of course, the defending champion, putted terrible. And Rory McIlroy, we talked about him last week, going for the career Grand Slam. He missed the cut too.
Right.
So that didn't go well. And the live players, we thought there might be some controversy. Everyone just got along. Respect for
Gentleman's sport.
Yeah. So I guess it's that time. Ladies and gentlemen, the moments we've been waiting for, stories that make us furious about bets that appeared surely to be winners, but in the end, something went horribly wrong. They ended up being losers. It's the segment we affectionately call You Got Hosed.
You got hosed.
Well, I'll take one for the whole state of Texas. And of course, Dallas opting out their players in the final week, sitting the players, unbelievable starters, are sitting out when they had a chance to make the playoffs. Like you said, to get that lottery pick they wanted to keep.
80% chance.
80% chance. So everybody in Dallas, especially you season ticket holders, you got hosed.
Yeah, they certainly gave up. But they started hosing themselves when they got Kyrie Irving on the team.
There's usually a host story coming after a Kyrie story, so
for sure. Well, my You Got Hosed story is Masters and Brooks Koepka. You know, I got Koepka at 33-1, and he's leading after all 3 rounds. The last 3 times at a major, he had to share the lead. He won the major. Well, that was until the 4th round here, of course, where he shot 3 over in the last round, finishing a tie for second. On the Saudi Tour, he only plays 3 rounds each tournament, so
the 4th round got him.
He just ran out of gas on that 4th round.
Pretty big guy. I don't think he ran out of gas. I think the weather had a lot to do with it too. But I mean, Mickelson shot it with a -7, so it didn't bother him. So
didn't seem to bother him. Well, Brooks, you got my hopes up, and in the end, you made me feel pretty hosed.
Pretty cool. Second place. There's no money in second place.
Not really.
You got hosed.
So that's it for the show. I'd like to thank Big Richard Martin, all our contributors, such as Gator Gates and Rockin' Ronnie McKinnon, our editor, producer, and engineer Cornelius, and all you listeners out there. And next week, we look forward to bringing you another episode of Covering the Field.
You've been listening to Covering the Field. Email us at coveringthefield@gmail.com for all your comments or questions. Find us on Twitter @CoveringField. And of course, always check out the website for our picks of the week and updated articles. coveringthefield.com.